Hello, and welcome to the Wisconsin Farm to Early Care and Education training video presented by Rooted. In this video, we will be talking about how to incorporate local foods in your Farm to Early Care and Education program. This training is available for Registry Credit for providers, and information on how to receive this credit will be at the end of the video. First, an introduction. My name is Stephanie Bugash-Scopoline, and I am a Farm to Early Care and Education trainer at Rooted and the Outreach Specialist for the Wisconsin School Garden Network. This video is brought to you by Rooted, and our Farm to Early Care and Education work is funded by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. To find more about Rooted, please visit our website at rootedwi.org. Before we dive into our topic, I want to talk about what is Farm to Early Care and Education, or Farm to ECE. Farm to ECE can be carried out by anyone spending time with young children. At the heart of it is a desire to teach children where their food comes from, how it is grown or made, to create a positive relationship with healthy food, and to help children understand how food forms connections with their families, cultural identities, and communities. Farm to ECE is thought of generally in 4 activity areas, although they are all interconnected. They include purchasing local foods and incorporating them into meals, snacks, and taste tests, hands-on learning and play in nutrition, food, and agriculture, planting and tending to edible plants or gardening, and family engagement in health and wellness. If you have ever helped a child start a seed in a bean cup or took a field trip to a local pumpkin patch, you are engaging in Farm to ECE. In this video, we will be focusing on the activity area local foods in meals, snacks, and taste tests in your ECE program. This video is a part of a 4-part video series where we will cover the other 3 activity areas. For more information on the other ones, please see our other videos. First, our objective for today is to build confidence in knowing where to find local foods and how to prepare and use them in meals, snacks, and taste tests. Our outline: first we'll talk about the benefits of using local foods, then we'll cover where, when, and how to buy local. We'll then talk about specific ways to incorporate local foods into meals, snacks, events, and taste tests. We'll then cover some food safety and end with some resources and funding ideas. To start us off, I'll talk about the benefits of using local foods in your ECE program. The first benefit is including local foods improves child health through access to fresh and nutritious foods. We did a survey of providers in Wisconsin, and the number 1 reason that they engaged in Farm to ECE is for the health of their children. By incorporating local foods from a farmer's market, a local farm, or even from your own garden, you are increasing children's access to healthy, fresh foods. Another benefit of including local foods is it helps to develop the whole child. The whole child model focuses not just on the physical health of children, but on their mental, emotional, and social health as well. By incorporating local foods into your program, you can ensure that the children in your care are getting the proper nutrition they need to properly develop. By using local foods in our program, this also supports our children as they build strong cultural identities through food and learning where their food comes from, how that food is made, and how they can fit into the story of their ancestors and relatives. In Wisconsin, we are abundantly blessed with a rich diversity of local foods. Native to Wisconsin are wild rice, cranberries, hazelnuts, wild strawberries, maple syrup, venison, bluegill, ramps, and morel mushrooms. Domesticated corn, beans, squash, and sunflower seeds made their way here from their native Southwest and were grown by the First Nations people who also gathered and ate the native foods. Each group of immigrants who came to live here in Wisconsin brought their own foods and traditions represented. Each group of immigrants who came to live here in Wisconsin brought their own foods and traditions represented by just some of the following: sauerkraut, bratwurst, lefse, pho, cornbread, collard greens, pierogies, pasties, gefilte fish, empanadas, and of course, 350 varieties of cheese. Each of these foods has a story, a rich history, and a personal connection to people in our state. Incorporating local foods into your center creates an opportunity to ask your family what food traditions are important to them and whether they would share those stories and experiences with their children. Children love stories, even more than recipes. Other benefits of including local foods in your program can be that it also helps to enhance the health of your staff, families, and caregivers by having those healthy foods around. When you buy local, you are also working to support your local community, creating connections and boosting your local economy. And lastly, incorporating local foods in your program can also promote racial and social equity. In general, incorporating Farm to ECE in your program can also be a tool to address poverty and social and racial justice. In Wisconsin, we know that not all children have equal access to healthy foods and high-quality learning environments. For some of us, fresh, healthy foods are easy to come by at nearby grocery stores or farmers markets. For many, simply getting to the grocery store can be a major barrier and involves buses or cab rides. In isolated rural areas, and ironically, even in farming communities, access to fresh foods can also be difficult. The pictures above are from the Fondy Farmers Market, located on Fond du Lac Avenue in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Fondy Farmers Market offers accessible farm fresh produce in an urban setting. The Fondy Food Center connects greater Milwaukee to local fresh food, from farm to market to table, so that children learn better, adults live healthier, and communities celebrate cultural food traditions. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of local foods, I'd love to share an activity we do at our in-person trainings. I'd like you to take a moment to think about your very first positive food memory. To start off, I'll share mine. This photo is of me and my brother. I have great memories of us going over to my grandparents' house where they had a couple of apple trees. We'd love to climb up into the trees to help harvest the apples, and then afterward, my grandmother would make the most delicious applesauce. Today, I continue to make applesauce in memory of my grandmother. When we do this activity at our trainings, many of the stories that we hear involve local foods, maybe with a garden, or visiting an orchard, or a pumpkin patch, or cooking with their families. Through sharing these stories, there's almost always a connection made between food and family, just like in my story. Did your story involve your family or community? In doing this exercise, we can see the powerful connection between food, families, communities, and culture. It highlights the importance of creating these memories and these positive relationships to healthy foods, and local foods can absolutely be a part of these positive experiences. Now we will dive into the heart of our content, talking about local foods. The first question to answer, why buy local? This can be a tricky question because sometimes the term local can be confusing. In terms of Wisconsin Farm to ECE, we consider local food to be food that is grown or produced in Wisconsin or a neighboring state. Within that, you can get as local as you'd like, whether it's a 100-mile radius of your early care site or items directly from your garden. Another reason to buy local is because of freshness and taste. Most people are familiar with the difference in homegrown tomatoes versus store-bought ones, especially in the winter. For produce, getting produce that is harvested that day and shipped little to no difference makes a huge difference in the quality. It certainly lasts longer before spoiling, and especially in the taste. Children who taste fresh, delicious foods are more likely to accept them. Another reason to buy local is when crops are in season in Wisconsin, such as sweet corn in August and apples in October, you can often buy them in bulk from farmers and get a much better deal than in the grocery store for a much fresher product. Buying local also allows you to take advantage of seasonal excitement. Especially at farmers market, there are often unusual varieties or different colors of produce that you wouldn't find at the store. This creates more opportunities for children to learn about the incredible diversity of foods in the world and get them excited to try them. We'll also note that local foods is encouraged by CACFP. Here are two memos, both related to CACFP, encouraging the use of local foods in their reimbursement program. We will link to these resources in the comments below. Another great reason to buy a local carrot or other produce is that it is always connected to a local farmer. Farmers and child care providers have quite a bit in common, actually. They're both usually small business owners, and they are in fields that require a lot of heart and usually not enough pay. While farmers and childcare providers can support each other's businesses, they help the local economy. And farmers love to know that their hard work is benefiting local children and the future of their communities. Small farms can be a great match for early care sites, and farmers appreciate that childcare programs are usually open year-round and throughout the growing season, whereas K-12 schools are not. Depending on the farmer and their time constraints, they may be willing to visit the classroom, such as this farmer did during the off-season. He brought his frost-sweetened up carrots to the children to try and read them the book Up, Down, and Around by Catherine Ayres. Depending on the situation, the children could possibly visit the farm where their food is coming from, an extra bonus trip. Like you, farmers are also very busy and may not be able to accommodate site visit programs or visit requests, but like you, they will also usually do what they can if they are able. Now that we know where you can buy local foods, we need to have ideas of what you can buy. The answer is the whole plate. You can find local products from all of the different food groups. We are fortunate to live in Wisconsin, which produces a wide diversity of fresh fruits and vegetables. As a dairy state, we also have great sources of dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurts, but also are producers of local meats, eggs, and dried beans. A fun activity to do with kids is to find out where their milk comes from by going to this website, whereismymilkfrom.com. If you're looking for more ideas on when you can buy certain fruits and vegetables, see this seasonal availability chart from UW-Madison. When talking about local foods, we love to share this quote from Shauna Hunter, the director of Children of the Lord Daycare in La Crosse. She says, "I purchase all of my ground beef from a local farmer. The quality of the meat is better. I enjoy working with this farmer, and I feel like we are helping our local economy by doing so." For more information about purchasing your own meat and about the Wisconsin Grass-Fed Beef Cooperative, you can visit this website here. You can also contact them for a special farm-to-school/farm-to-ECE pricing. The next question to ask is, where can you buy local? The easiest way to find local products is to look where you already shop, at your local grocery store or food co-op. Some stores carry quite a few local products when they are in season. Look for signs near the produce or ask the produce manager. Another option to buying local is through your food distributor. More and more food distributors are carrying local items when they are in season. Ask them what they have available and let them know you're interested in local foods to encourage their expansion in this area. A great option for buying in bulk is to attend a meat raffle, or if you live near Dalton or Fenmore, Wisconsin, they also have produce auctions in these areas. The best way that we find to buy local, though, and to connect with a local farmer is to attend a nearby farmer's market. If you are able to go to a farmer's market, consider bringing your children in your care occasionally along as a field trip. These resources here, shown on the right, are two wonderful resources we created called Let's Go to the Farmer's Market and Farmer's Market Activity Ideas for Young Children. Here you can find ideas on how to engage children in the market. The links to these resources will be below in the description. And lastly, you can also interact with farmers directly through their farm stand or contacting them at their farm. Now that we have a couple ideas for interacting with farmers at farmers markets or farm stands, we want to give a couple of ways that you can find these different farms. The first is through the Farm Fresh Atlas. This is a directory of all of the farms I know about in Wisconsin. The second one is wifarmersmarket.org, where a list of known farmers markets can be found. And lastly, you could also ask your local county extension agent, or you can search on the internet for farms in your area. Don't forget that the ultimate way to obtain local foods is through growing your own food in your garden. For more information on starting or growing a garden, please see our Farm to ECE video on gardening. And the last idea we have for you on where to buy local is through a community-supported agriculture share, or CSA share. A CSA is a relationship with one farm and a way to buy local food directly from a farmer. The consumer, which can be an individual, family, business, or other, buys a subscription or share from a farm's produce at the start of the growing season. Then the customer receives a regular assortment of fresh items from the farmer over the season. Usually a CSA subscription involves getting a weekly or bi-weekly box of produce from the farm. There are many variations on this model and the type of box that you can get. A CSA subscription box can be great for getting produce for taste tests and using in edible education activities, as well as staff and family engagement. To find a CSA farm, you can visit Fair Share CSA Coalition or search through the Farm Fresh Atlas. To find out more about CSAs and different ideas of how to use one of them at your early care site, please see our resource, Community Supported Agriculture and Your Early Care and Education Program. Becky Breda from the VA Child Care Center loves to share her experience getting a weekly CSA box. She says her favorite part is opening the box with the kids. They make it into an exploration game and a huge surprise. The kids love getting to unpack the box together and see what new fun veggies are inside. Now that we are confident in what and where we can buy locally, here are a couple of tips on buying local. 1, the best advice we have is to start small with items that need little processing, like apples, pears, berries, cucumbers, and cherry tomatoes. Next, try buying small quantities of new items just for taste tests or using in snacks. You also can think about where in the menu you can sub something fresh and local. Think seasonally, right? What is in season right now? Start with maybe some local lettuce or spinach in the spring, sweet corn or cherry tomatoes in the summer, and apples or winter squash in the fall. You can create a list of seasonal vegetables to allow space to sub in these items when you are menu planning. Because refrigerator and freezer space can be precious, consider starting with vegetables that don't need to be stored in a refrigerator. These can be tomatoes, potatoes, sweet potatoes, onion, and winter squash. To keep costs low, consider purchasing cosmetically imperfect seconds or in bulk if you don't have the storage room or freezer space. For help with culinary skills related to fresh produce, see the series of short videos produced by the Center for Integrated Agriculture Systems at UW-Madison called Chop Chop, Culinary Skills for Wisconsin-Grown Produce in School Meals. We'll link to these videos in the description below. A great first step for purchasing local products can be to participate in the Great Lakes Great Apple Crunch. The Great Lakes Great Apple Crunch is when thousands of children of all ages in the Great Lakes area bite into a locally grown apple in October. In 1 year, over 10,600 Wisconsin children ages 0 to 5 have participated. If you'd like to register for the event, visit cias.wisc.edu/applecrunch. When you register, you will receive a crunch guide with activity ideas and adaptations for ECE sites. For a younger participant, the guide even includes recipes and sources for applesauce and shredded apples. The crunch can happen anywhere and at any time in October, as it is designed to be flexible to match your schedule. This photo on the right is from Toma Head Start, with kids crunching on their apples from Northwoods Orchard. We also have a wonderful resource called Apple Taste Tests with Young Children and how it connects to the Wisconsin Model Early Learning Standards. Find a link to this resource below. Another great step for purchasing local products is to participate in the Wisconsin Chili Lunch. Similar to the Apple Crunch, the Wisconsin Chili Lunch event happens wherever you are and focuses on trying to source as many locally grown and locally produced ingredients as possible in the chili. To find out how to participate, see the website cias.wisc.edu/chililunch. Another tip I want to share is from Margaret Brown, a cook at Rivers House Children's Center. She says, when I give the children snack carrots from the grocery store, half of them come back to the kitchen. But when I get fresh carrots from our CSA subscription, I leave the tops on and the kids eat them all, and only the nubs remain after snack time. She also shared with me that keeping the tops on is a really, really fun way to engage the kids. They like to pretend that they're rabbits holding on to the green parts. Now on to some tips and ideas for incorporating local foods into your menus and making them a success. The first tip that we have is to make something familiar that is already well liked. Great examples of this is adding spaghetti squash to mac and cheese. Another tip is to blend the ingredients into the dish, like putting spinach into your spaghetti sauce or maybe adding spinach to smoothies. Another tip that we have is to make the dish into fun shapes. This could be like crinkle cutting fresh vegetables or fruits, and then you can incorporate them with different dips. One other tip we have is to roast root vegetables. This helps to bring out their naturally sweet and savory flavors versus boiling them. Wisconsin cheese curds are always a treat, and you could incorporate these with whole grain crackers for a snack. Adding pumpkin can be really, really successful too. You can put these into your muffins and maybe into waffles. And the last tip that we have is you could also make your own fresh baby food from local foods. This can be cheaper if you're buying in season and also can taste a lot better than store-bought baby food. This can be really encouraging for infants to start developing those taste preferences for vegetables and fruits. For those that like concrete recipes, here are some wonderful websites for recipes for local foods. I won't go through each one of these, but we will be sure to put links to all of these in the description below. I do want to draw attention to the resource at the bottom, Cooking Up Healthy Habits, a guide to CACFP meals. This is from the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, and this talks about using recipes and local products and how to use them in accordance with CACFP guidelines. When talking about using local foods, we definitely want to make sure that if we are using our own produce from an on-site garden or handling donation from gardeners or buying it from the farmer's market, we want to consider food safety. There's a food safety resource. To find more about food safety, please visit the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction's Farm to ECE webpage. Now I want to share one of our favorite activities to do with local foods, taste tests. We like to do taste tests together because it can be a fun way to engage the children and make them feel like a community participating together. We do stress that it is optional with the children as we don't want to force things with them, but being in that positive peer pressure situation, a lot of kids will be willing to try something new. When we do taste tests, we encourage calling it an "I'll try it" bite instead of a "no thank you" bite to avoid planting the idea that they might not like it. If you have children who are particularly picky, you can ask them to give it just a kiss, just to get their lips to touch it, and maybe over time they might actually taste it. So to start off, we like to choose 1 to 2 varieties of foods. If you're trying 2 different types of foods, maybe you're trying 2 different colors of foods, so purple carrots and orange carrots, or purple potatoes and red potatoes. There are many different varieties of foods, yellow apples versus green apples or red apples. You don't have to compare 2 different things. You can certainly only try 1 food at a time, but sometimes I like to have 2 at a time, and then the kids get to see that food comes in all different shapes and sizes. Then we go ahead and hand out the food that we are trying. We ask the children to hold it into their hands and not take a bite out of it yet. We can ask questions like, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Then we're going to hold up the piece of food all together and take a big bite all at the same time. Again, this is kind of creating that excitement and positive peer pressure situation. If you did try 2 different foods, you then could have the children vote on which one they liked best. If you want to incorporate math skills into this activity, you could make a little chart and show children how to set that up. After the taste test, we can ask the kids, what do you think? If they enjoyed it, ask what they liked the most. If they didn't enjoy it, like this kid in this photo here, you can say, that's okay if you don't like it yet. With children, we work to stay positive and be nonchalant about it. Ask them to try it again another time. I think studies have shown that it takes 5 to 6 to 7 times of kid trying a different food before they really decide if they like it or not. A selective eater can still be an adventurous taster, and that's what we're hoping really to encourage. Ask the children how they felt about trying something new and to name their emotions. If teachers and staff can taste test the food too, this helps to encourage the children to try something new. In the resource I've mentioned before, Apple Taste Tests for Young Children, we model how to run a taste test and give adaptations for children ages 0 to 5. Another reason why I like taste tests is also because it can be a great way to test drive a local food item before incorporating it into your regular menu. As we come into our last couple of slides here, I want to leave you with some ideas for getting started with local food. The first is to just simply keep an eye out at your grocery store or local food store for local products. The second is to sign up for the Great Lakes Great Apple Crunch in October and do an apple taste test in the classroom. This can be a really simple event, and it is a lovely way to get a guide on how to buy local apples. The third is to create a support team. Find a group of people, maybe that's teachers or staff members or cooks or other programs that have similar aspirations as you and that will support you in incorporating local foods into your program. And the fourth is to join the Wisconsin Farm to ECE work group. This is a group of passionate ECE providers and community members who are interested in supporting others on their goal to expanding their Farm to ECE program at their center. If you're interested in joining the group, please email us at wifarmtoece@rootedwi.org. Now that we've gone over a couple of great ideas of ways to incorporate local foods into your center, you may be thinking, this seems all too much. So here are a couple of easy ways that we can take small steps to build local foods into a larger program. Two examples. Our first example is, maybe we start off with some fried potatoes from a distributor, and then you work to transition to potatoes that are baked. And soon, once they're used to those baked potatoes, maybe now we're buying local potatoes and we bake those into different fries. Another way to incorporate local foods is just to start off with doing one special event. Maybe that's the chili lunch or the Great Lakes Great Apple Crunch. And once you've gotten used to that process, maybe you move on to incorporating one monthly taste test. And as that becomes easier and easier, maybe you transition into serving local foods once a week and participating in Wisconsin Wednesdays. Wisconsin Wednesdays is simply a program idea to serve one or many local products from Wisconsin on Wednesdays. Again, you don't have to change your program overnight, but by taking small steps, this will help you gradually incorporate local foods into your program. As we end today, I want to leave you with some resources. They have some wonderful ideas for next steps and other activities you can do. You can visit our resources at rootedwi.org/farm early care and education. These are 3 of our resources, one on making your own local baby food, the Apple Taste Test for Young Children that I've mentioned a number of times, and then the resource on CSAs in your early care and education program. Another resource that we want to share is called Celebrating Seasonality. This resource is funded by the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program and was written in partnership between Rooted and the Center for Integrated Agricultural Systems. Celebrating Seasonality is a recipe guide for local Wisconsin foods specifically designed to be used in the early care setting. This resource is currently available in English, but will also be available in Spanish in the future. This guide is laid out by seasons. Here you can see fall, winter, spring, and summer. And these recipes incorporate fruits and vegetables that are commonly grown in Wisconsin for each season. Each season has 3 recipes: a snack, a breakfast, and then a lunch or dinner recipe. We're really excited to share these with you because I think this guide does a really good job at 4 things. 1, it can help ECE sites make meals using local foods. 2, we've also broken down each recipe out by serving size. So there's a recipe for 8 servings, and then there's a recipe for 25 servings. So this kind of depends on the size of your ECE site or maybe your classroom. So it's really adaptable for family centers along with larger group centers. 3, the age group and the appropriate serving size for the dish are listed with each recipe, setting up ECE sites to easily meet the food program or CACFP guidelines. And then 4, like we talked about earlier, a tip for getting kids to try new foods is to introduce the new foods in a form that they are already familiar with. Here you can see an example of a butternut squash recipe. It's really, really delicious, and it's a fun recipe for kids to make, and again, helps to introduce this new food of butternut squash in a form of mac and cheese that they're already familiar with. This again increases that willingness to try this food. Another reason we love this resource is because it also contains childcare profiles for ECE sites from across Wisconsin, and it shares a little bit about how they use local foods at their center. Hopefully these stories can inspire you to get started with using local foods at your site. The other type of profile present in celebrating seasonality are the farmer profiles from farmers across Wisconsin. These farmer profiles give a little insight into the lives of local farmers, and again will hopefully inspire you all as ECE sites to potentially reach out to a local farmer in your area. The Celebrating Seasonality Guide can be found by going to our website, rootedwi.org/recipes. Here you will notice that the text is available in both English and in Spanish. You'll scroll down, and if you scroll down here, you will find the button to click to download a free copy of Celebrating Seasonality, or you can also request a free print copy of the book. Again, the Spanish version will be available shortly. You scroll down even more, there's an option to download just the recipes. So in case you're looking for maybe that squash mac and cheese recipe, or there's a yummy apple recipe, you can click on these links here, and it will take you to a separate web page where it will show you a 1 to 2 page PDF where you can download these recipes for free. Again, it's broken out by servings, so if you, depending on the size of your classroom or the site that you're at, there's a recipe there for 8 servings or 25 servings. These printed PDFs are available in both English and in Spanish right now, and they are live on our website. If you scroll down more, there'll be an option if you have any additional ideas of things you'd like to see. There's an opportunity to share your feedback. So please be sure to check out the website. The last thing I want to leave you all with is some funding ideas for incorporating local food into your site. The first is through CACFP reimbursable funds. We know that CACFP will reimburse fresh fruits and vegetables, and this can be a really easy way to introduce those foods into your center. You could also look for grants and sponsorships, maybe in your community. You could also go in with another program, maybe in your area, to purchase a large order of food. Many families or community members in your area may have a garden, and they may be willing to donate some of their garden produce to your center. If you're interested in a CSA program, there is a program called Fair Share CSA Coalition Partner Shares. This program reduces the cost of a CSA share, and they have worked with ECE programs in the past that qualify. And finally, you may be able to get donations or discounts of cosmetically imperfect seconds or other produce from local farmers. Keep in mind that your local farmers are small business owners and may have a slim profit margin. Whenever possible, if full payment can be made, it is usually appreciated. Farmers never want to have their food go to waste though, so if you aren't able to pay in full and they have no other market for the produce, they're usually happy to have it go into the mouths of young children. Our last bit of advice for you is to share your ideas with other people. The more you let the community know your aspirations, the more possibilities will open up to you. You never know how someone may want to help you make your dreams come reality unless you share those ideas. And this concludes the end of the video. So thank you so much for taking your time today to learn more about local foods. If you have any more questions, please email us at wifarmtoece@rootedwi.org. For more ideas and other information, you can sign up for the Farm to School and Farm to ECE newsletter by typing this URL into your web browser. And also please visit our website for more information. If you are interested in receiving registry credit for viewing this video, please type in this URL into your web browser. This will then take you to a survey. You'll fill out the survey, and then the registry credit will be emailed to you. If you have any issues with this, please email us at wifarmtoece@rootedwi.org. Thank you so much, and I hope this video has been inspiring.